It was quite a sight in Baku this weekend, flags waving, cheers rising, and military bands in full force as Azerbaijan celebrated Victory Day. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif took part in the ceremony, marking the country's triumph in the Second Nagorno-Karabakh War.
That image of troops from Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Pakistan marching side by side really struck me. It wasn't just a show of strength, but almost a living symbol of how these three nations see themselves like brothers, as Shehbaz Sharif put it. The unity felt almost tangible.
Absolutely. And the Prime Minister seemed genuinely moved. He reminisced about similar celebrations in Islamabad earlier this year, remembering joint parades and the energy of that shared pride. It's interesting how these events echo across borders.
What stood out for me was how Shehbaz Sharif wove in his own sense of nostalgia. He talked about childhood memories coming back as he watched the soldiers march. There was a real sense of history and continuity, not just politics on display.
That camaraderie between Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan really runs deep. Sharif went as far as to call them three brothers, emphasizing their shared victories and struggles over the years.
Exactly, he drew a line from past military alliances right up to the present. For instance, he pointed out how Azerbaijani and Turkish contingents marched in Islamabad during Pakistan's own victory celebrations, and now the favors returned in Baku. That mutual support seems to be more than just diplomatic talk.
It's also telling that leaders from all three countries praised one another so openly. President Ilham Aliyev thanked Pakistan and Turkey for their solidarity during the war with Armenia, while President Erdogan highlighted the importance of unity and regional prosperity.
And those thanks weren't just for show, there's a shared sense of purpose. The Prime Minister even mentioned joint efforts for peace in Afghanistan and the broader region. It's a relationship built on both defense and development.
You know, while the day was heavy, with military symbolism, fighter jets roaring, precise marches, Shehbaz Sharif kept circling back to the idea of peace. He said, "True victory lies not on the battlefield alone, but in building bridges of peace and understanding."
That's an interesting contrast, isn't it? On one hand, he praised the armed forces for their swift and decisive actions, like the Pakistani Air Force shooting down 7 aircraft during the recent conflict. But then he shifted to celebrate reconstruction in Karabakh and the return of displaced families, really framing lasting peace as the ultimate goal.
I noticed he was careful to balance pride in military achievements with a warning about sovereignty, saying Pakistan seeks peace but won't tolerate threats to its territory. It's a delicate line to walk, especially given the tensions in the region.
He even broadened the message to other struggles, mentioning places like Gaza and Kashmir as examples where people are still fighting for self-determination. It was as much a statement of solidarity as it was a regional outlook.
Switching gears a bit, what really caught headlines was Shehbaz Sharif's public thanks to Donald Trump. He credited Trump's bold and decisive leadership for brokering the ceasefire between India and Pakistan earlier this year.
That was unexpected. It's not every day you see a Pakistani prime minister openly recognizing a U.S. president's role in regional peace. Sharif even said that Trump's intervention likely prevented a major war and potentially saved millions from harm.
It shows just how interconnected these peace efforts are. The truce wasn't just a local affair. It took heavyweight diplomacy to keep things from spiraling. Sharif also thanked leaders from Turkey and Qatar for their roles in the Afghanistan peace talks.
That actually highlights a bigger point. Even as countries assert their independence, outside mediation and alliances still matter. It's a blend of self-reliance and strategic partnerships, shaping South Asia's future.
As much as the day was about remembering victories, it was just as focused on the future. Sharif praised President Aliyev's commitment to rebuilding in Karabakh, citing the rapid progress in cities like Shusha and Lachin.
And he didn't stop there. Sharif also pointed to Turkey's transformation under President Erdogan, calling it a model of modern development. He seemed genuinely inspired by how those countries have paired military strength with economic growth.
That's the bigger picture, isn't it? Celebrations like Victory Day aren't just about the past, they're statements of intent for what comes next. Stronger ties, shared prosperity, and ideally, lasting peace across the region.
If anything, these ceremonies double as reminders. Unity and progress are ongoing projects. The hope, it seems, is for these three brothers to keep marching forward together, whether on the parade ground or towards new milestones in peace and development.